Alright, hi everyone, and welcome. This is the first video guide for this one. I haven't seen much guides around low gear, low budget, everything, and that allows you to run 187 without much problems. Now, obviously, be aware that this will not be a speed run or anything like that, or a farm guide, etc. This is really to show you that you can complete 187 without much investment and time. Now, the idea of this build is being tanky enough so that you're not going to die in one shot, etc., but also making sure that you can have enough DPS to clear those 187. There is a gameplay style that comes with it, and I'm going to explain that during a run of a map. Now, the first thing we're going to show is the gear required, then we'll have a quick gear overall, and we'll have a look at the tree, then the gems in order to complete the stats that we need, and finally we'll jump into the actual map. Now, just looking at the gear, you're going to be able to see very quickly that this is a crap gear. Right, I have the entire value of this gear is, I think, 24 or 25 Greater Entropy Orbs, so I've just re-rolled until I found a bit either of toughness or material damage. Now, only 3 things are really required to make this build work and be powerful enough to carry you to 187. The 2 first ones are the rings. The rings, you want to have on them the 14% damage for the last spell cast. It doesn't have to be 14, but then the higher the better. Now, a steel ring like this, as you can see, all resistance is good, rage on hit is decent, health regen is completely crap, spell casting speed is completely useless, and bleed chance as well. Now, the other one as well has 13%, and that's all I was looking for, really. If you want to improve that, there's going to be another build that comes after, but just know that you have to focus on material damage. Then your resistances, maybe a bit of a HP, and then you can go full damage with the crit damage, etc. The third and last thing that is required for this will be the shield. Now, what you want to have on the shield is one of the spells that allow us to have a buff. The reason for that, and I'm going to explain it, is the mechanic of the build. Now, this one, what I was looking for was a bit of resistances, a bit of material damage, block and block efficiency, but more specifically the cast consuming embers. There are different choices, but the idea behind this is to use this specific rune. The skill grants a buff to the damage you deal with the base damage type of this skill. What this does concretely is just allowing you to buff whatever you use as a damaging type, any attack. So 21,000 on our bleeding edge at the moment, and if I was to use just consuming ember, I would just fire 1, and now we're up to 38,000. That's why we have consuming embers. Now, this is not the only skill it works with, and the others will be in addition as well, so if you want to use multiple skills like this, you can. The other one is Annihilation, with the Toxic Entropy. Another one that works as well for this will be the Infinity Blades, which I'm not sure you can have on a shield, so this would have to be double checked. There is the Thunderstrike with, I think, the Rebuilding the Trinity, and the Winter's Grasp. Now, I have checked, and I can tell you already that the most valuable are the Annihilation and the Consuming Embers. So any of those 2 is super useful. If you can also get your hands on an Ether Jump, would it be on the dagger or the shield, this is going to be an amazing movement skill to have in addition to everything else. Now, if we finish with the gear, now that you've seen the shield and the 2 rings that are required, All the other things are just here to help you get up in terms of block chance, block efficiency, toughness, HP, and resistances. Now, as you can see on the helmet here, you're going to have that one of the lucky material damage and toughness, a bit of resistances, but you want this number to be as high as possible because it's going to be buffed through the tree. Same goes for your chest piece. That chest piece has to have quite a lot of resistances as well. And as you can see, I've got pretty shitty rolls as well on this one. Wisdom, health regen, and elemental damage, all those things are completely useless. The shoulders, you want to have rage and willpower cost decrease plus toughness, and then anything that is damage, material damage would be great. So I have 44 on this one. Wisdom, crit chance, it's decent. Attack speed, decent, and then resistances. Now, the amulet is a great way to have 40% transfer time decrease between willpower and rage, and you will need that if you don't want to have to equip 2 different rage potions. You want to have as much transfer time as you can. The rest is just on this one pretty much useless, except for the critical damage and the toxic damage added to attacks. Now the gloves as well can be way better. So as you can see, really all this gear is really bad. That's probably the shittiest gear that you're going to see completing a 187. So yeah, just focus on the resistances, material damage, and a bit of HP here and there. Movement speed, toughness, that's it. So the weapon here, if you can have something good, I would recommend having just Fizz and Rend on it. Nothing else, and the idea with this is just being able to add 1 sacred damage gem. The reason for this is because we're going to be using EOS, which allows you to have like a finisher and execute whenever a marble boss is below 15% HP. So we're just using that. Of course, you can achieve this with other ways, but yeah, again, just note the weapon is pretty bad. That's it for the gear. You can have the trial if you have it, it's great, but today we're going to see that we do not need the trial for it to work. If you have it, that's going to be a massive increase in terms of damage and clearing speed. Now that we have covered the gear, we're going to go through the tree, and if you want to have this type of gear, just honestly, this is probably about do level 100 maps for about 3-4 hours, and you're going to have enough crafting materials to craft these. Now let's go to the tree. We start with the soldier one. We're just going to get melee weapon damage and go for the wild card for the critical chance score. It's always good to have. We will then go on the Immortal Offering, allowing us to have buffs. If you do not know what that does, I would encourage you to look at some of the videos. Binator has done quite an impressive series of videos about this, about the different skills, and I would really highly recommend watching these. We will then take the Grievous Affliction. Applying an additional ailment is really key in almost every build now, as long as we play with the ailments. And we will then go directly here, make sure you get the Orb Resistance score, Salvatory Ankle. So those are the points I was talking about when I talked about the heavy chest piece and the helmet as well. As long as you have all resistances on it, this will almost double it. So that's the idea, is to help you making sure that you're going to be capped in terms of defenses. Now the next thing we're going to do will be going on the left in terms of priority for the level that you have. So we'll go straight there and take first the 2% damage per 100 unconsumed rage. This is honestly useless with the gear level that I have. what I wanted really was the 35 rage generation on kill. That is really, really important to have this one so that you can spam in AoE the bleeding edge. Now after this, you want to go here, get the 10% block chance with a one-handed weapon, and have the Furious Appetite. Really good to have. Then the next thing you want to do is go down a little bit, go to the Warlock tree and get the Duty to Exterminate, and the idea is really to get the Residual Energy. Residual Energy is exactly the same as what we have on the rings, so you're just going to be, it's just going to be an addition to that. Once you've got this, you can then go to the Virtual Stance, so that will double, basically, sometimes double your damage. Just go there, take it. It's an amazing point. Once you have this, that's going to be, the priority will be not to die in one shot. So you will get the Die Adjunctor, allowing you not to be one-shotted. And because we're going to be dealing damage pretty consistently, we want to add a little bit of global life leash. So this will allow us to heal through the damage we're going to take. Then after this, you can go and get the Which Time Cannot Heal. This is not required, but highly encouraged to take, just because on single bosses and everything, that's going to be a good addition to your DPS. Once we've got all this, we're going to switch and go onto the right side of the tree and go for first the Undertaker, having those green gloves popping, allowing our DPS to go through the roof, if I may say, with a crappy gear. And in order to get those without having to go on the gloves, what we want to do is go here and take the increased awareness, allowing us to pick, to increase the radius for picking up the gloves. It works with the green gloves as well. Now after this, do not go yet onto the toxic emanations unless you know that you're going to have the stats required. We're just going to go a bit further here and take the Sacred Oath. The idea here is really to apply an additional stack, an additional ailment passively, and then the EOS here is, I wouldn't say required, but offers quite a lot of comfort when you come to bosses and everything. Obviously with a crappy gear, a super low budget build, you're not going to be one-shotting everything. So this is really a good help. And once you've got that, and if you still have enough points, before investing those points, I would suggest to check your resistances, your block chances, everything, because I have been able to spend those 3 points in order to apply Toxic, an additional ailment, passively. But if I didn't have enough block chances and block efficiency, I would have gone, for example, here and take those 3 points, 6 added block chance and block efficiency. You have a few block efficiencies and block chance here and there. You have a 14% efficiency here, 6% block chance here. There's, I think, another 20% block efficiency, so I did take that one. And that's pretty much it for the tree. Now what you want to do, once you have this tree ready, you want to check, before assigning those points, you want to check first what you have in terms of block chance, block efficiency. In my case, that's when you usually check your gems. In my case, I had to put 1, 2, 3 block chance, 4 block chance, 5 actually, so I was, I think, 45 or 50% block chance, and I had to add those 5 gems of block chance. And in terms of block efficiency, you could either choose to use the gems, or you can just get rid of the gems and then use the tree if you get more than 10% block efficiency, so that you can use the other gems for resistances or HP. So basically just rely on those gems. The life leash is just because I didn't have any other gem to put in. So again, you can use HP or resistances But yeah, just see the gems as a way to get to 100% block chance and 75% block efficiency, which is the maximum. Then in terms of resistances, what you want to be aiming at is at least more than 70%. Really, that would be the bare minimum. And in that case, like, I really have a pretty low gear. And again, there are a few things in the tree that you could change for this. I just didn't want to sacrifice mobility too much. But if you wanted, you could simply go here and take. That's what I would actually recommend to do once you have a bit more points. The disallowing vessel with the secure parry, which is going to cap you probably more than, I think you're going to get up to 80% or 78%-ish, which is going to be more than enough to survive almost everything. Now, once you've got this, the 100% and 75%, what you want to do here is to just work on the wisdom. The idea here is making sure you're going to apply enough ailments. So I usually try to aim at 25%, so I will add wisdom until I reach at least 20, 23, and then I really want to make sure I'm going to have more than 50,000 HP. So I've used toughness until I reached 50k, and then the rest in wisdom, just to make sure I could get closer to a decent ailment gem score. Now, if we look at the residual energy and the rings and the style, the gameplay style, what you want to do basically is you want to apply stasis with the hook here, with the tracker's reach. So we're going to see all the skills one by one, and the runes to apply everything we can. So the first one will be the Mark of Impurity. If you do not have the trial, you can use it manually. It's not going to be such a waste of time, and it's going to be a massive increase in terms of DPS. The runes I would recommend are these. The reason for that is because we want to apply the curse. That's an additional ailment. Then we want to cause an explosion. This will massively help in terms of damage. And we also want the mark to spread to nearby enemies whenever they're killed, so that, because we do not have the trial, we're not hitting everyone. So that's why we want to have this. With the trial equipped, I would probably change that for other things, but in that case we'll just stick with it. Then we switch to the Bleeding Edge. Bleeding Edge, in our case, I've decided to go, so this one, this one, and this one are kind of required. It's just the basis of Bleeding Edge. Then I've decided to go with the skills area of effect just because I do like it. It feels comfortable, and I like having this. You could decide to go like this, for example, to have a bit more like a cheaper one, or it could be damage with the crit chance and crit damage, or it could simply be the projectile speed if you prefer. But I go with the area of effect. This skill will apply the bleeding, but also we're going to see it might apply something else as well. The Wings of Ishmir, I do like it just because it provides me a decent moving skill. If you do have something else like Aether Jump, I would recommend it. This is a great way to dump your willpower as well. Now, with the Winds of Ishmir, I'm also looking at the buffs. So the buff to damage, the stand chance as well. So, I mean, in that case, why not? You can stand, and that will allow us to get rid of the shield on the bosses and everything. It's a good thing. You can definitely do that, but then it's not required. A buff, again, to the damage you deal based on the amount of enemy hit. It's not a critical one. You can change the Wings of Ishmir if you wish. Now, the Flight of Gavanir is pretty important as well, and the reason is because it's going to buff you with a random type damage whenever you call it back. You'll also grant a movement speed per enemy hit by the skill, and increase the damage dealt to enemies along the hammer record. So this is a key skill of this build, and I'm going to showcase this a little bit later. We've seen the Consuming Ember. The most important is this one, the Objective Desire. All the others is just pretty much useless. You could pretty much go like this and it wouldn't change much, to be honest. And the tracker's rich. So just one thing, we're going to be applying fire here, fire element with this one, and this one sometimes apply the lightning element. Now with the tracker's reach, we want to have at least the stasis chance, and then after this, what I like to do in this more comfort wise is being able to spam it. So I just take all the cooldown reduction. That's pretty good, and that's how you do. Now, if we look at the mechanics of this, what we're going to be using is the steel rings buffs, the 14% damage here, the consuming ember here, the buffs of all those skills, but also an addition of all of that. So our bleeding edge at the moment is at 21k. That's decent, but if we were to throw a hammer and then use our consuming ember, we get to 42, almost 43,000 damage. Now, you've understood that the idea of this is to make sure that you keep those buffs up. We're tanky enough to move in different packs and then take as much mobs as you want and just continue like this. Now, the playstyle is for the edits and bosses. You want to make sure that you have enough enemies around you to proc the Mark of Impurity explosions on those guys. So let's go now in a map. We're just going to try very quickly to see what this looks like. Again, do not forget that this build is purely here to show you that even with a budget, you can definitely farm 187. So once we have a decent amount of packs and you're happy with what you've got, you can just go back, use your tracker's reach, Mark of Impurity, hammer, consuming ember, and then we start with the bleeding edge. And whenever someone with the Mark of Impurity dies, it's just going to be a chain reaction. And that's it. And if we look now at our bleeding edge with the two buffs, we are at 75,000. You can reach way, way, way higher. But that's really the idea, the core idea of the build.
You can be a hero if you put your life on the line. You could be a hero if you hone your body and mind. You could be a hero if you know to stand and fight. You could be a hero if you bring a shining light. I've been working till my bones break, knowing villains are attacking and they won't wait. Every moment I'll be glowing, see my growth rate. When I step into the battlefield I go great, see my foes shake. My time when I make it, scare and surprise when I'm naked. Take it, shape it, there's a mistake it. If there's a ceiling I literally break it. Know I'm gonna win when I head in, face ripping a grin, dealing with sin, tech to my kin, journey to the top is about to begin. And I'll be phasing through your body and the wall around, there's nothing is stopping me from connecting this fist up into your face. I'm at a different pace, on top of the class ace, to step into my place, protecting the human race like what?
I took a vow to protect you. If I can save one life, then what am I to do? I'm staying brave and I can't lose. And I will rise and break through. And I will rise above it all. Push my body to the limit. With my back against the wall. I can't feel it in my spirit. And I will rise above it all.
I cannot be outdone, I'm rising, got nothing to fear though.
With my back against the wall.
No matter the outcome, surviving I'll still be your hero. If I can't save one life, I failed to be a hero. I'm kicking myself over mistakes I made, not sensing when evil is near though. I'm here, so get down your knees. I'm the best of the whole big three. You can never be what I'm going to be. Make a villain scared so they PK freeze. Nights I learned for, he thinks I'm worth more. Inheriting one for all's not what I work for. Deku, you don't have to worry, I get you. I wanna be someone that needing can turn towards. Combating with overhaul, break every protocol. Thinking is for fight for something more notable. It's non-negotiable, goods are disposable. Fighting for justice, it makes me emotional. When it comes to the final moments, I'll never cower. Keep on smiling so my passion's trumping any power. And even when I'm beaten, bleeding out, I cannot lose. I'm giving all that I've got, so I'll protect you.
I took a vow to protect you. If I can save one life, then what am I to do? I'm staying brave and I can't lose. And I will rise and break through. And I will rise above it all. Push my body to the limit. With my back against the wall. I can't feel it in my spirit. And I will rise above it all.
I cannot be outdone, I'm rising, got nothing to fear though.
With my back against the wall.
No matter the outcome, surviving, I'll still be your hero.